What is happening, people? What's happening on this Monday afternoon? Welcome back to From the Shed End. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, as always, please make sure you smash the subscribe button. We've got lots to unpick today. Who would have thought on a Monday morning, a lot of Chelsea news? I did say yesterday, actually, I did say that I think things will happen very, very quickly. Now we've got João Heto deal done. It looks like Xavi Simons potentially will be done in the next, some people are saying today, some people are saying by tomorrow, but the deal will be done very, very soon for Xavi Simons. We've got a lot to talk about. There's more outgoings. There's more outgoing news to talk about as well, but I can't believe it. Chelsea are doing the right thing for once. Not only we're bringing in the right players, we're also moving on some players that we just know were never going to be good enough for the club. Things are looking up for Chelsea Football Club. I, for one, am here for it. The season kicks off in just over a week's time. We've got our two friendlies coming up. We've got Bayern Leverkusen and AC Milan next week as well. So let's hope we get some more positive news, some more outgoings as well. I think we do need the outgoings to kind of come back in, because yeah, we need to make sure that whatever happens. Whoa, what's going on? The camera's gone a bit weird. Let's sort the camera out. There we go, it's better. Yeah, before the season comes and goes and it starts, we want to make sure that we've got the squad. Our squad has to be ready. Our squad has to be ready. Let's dive straight into it, because there's a lot to unpick. There's a lot to unpick, ladies and gentlemen. Let's start with this one. Everton are confident of finalising a transfer for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall with a deal almost agreed. Now, I'm going to go as far as to say I reckon that has moved on since I actually had that page on there. Here we go. Some more news from Fabrizio. It's the same one. Let's have a look. I reckon there's more news. In fact, I know there's more news. There's going to be more news. Get it on the screen. It's from The Athletic. So it says that Chelsea are looking for a fee of around £30 million for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall amid talks with Everton over a permanent move. We've got to be honest. I think that in itself sums up everything. Here as well, Everton are confident of finalising the transfer of Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall with a deal almost agreed with Chelsea. Now, I'm going to be honest. I think that deal for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall is a good one. I think it's a good move. I don't think Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall's a bad player. I don't think he's a bad player. In fact, he's a very good player. He's been a very good squad player for us, but that's it. He's a squad player. He's a player that will do well at Leicester City, will do well at Everton, will do well at Aston Villa. He'll do well at those clubs, but is he going to win us the Champions League? Does he help us get Premier League? You could argue no. You could argue yes. In my opinion, he doesn't. In my opinion, he's not good enough to be that level. He's not the top level. He's not going to get into Chelsea's 11 most weekends, most Champions League games. And let's be honest, for a fee of 30 million, who are we to turn our nose up at that? That's good money. That's very, very good money. I did say a lot of these deals, I think a lot of these deals now are going to happen very, very quickly over the next couple of days. I think these deals are going to be thick and fast. Now, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall for me is a player that, had we not got certain players in our team, and we're bringing in a lot of players, remember, Estevao, Asugo's gone out on loan now, but we've got him, Lavia's there. You know, there's a lot of players we need to get rid of, and he is on that list. He is on that list, ladies and gentlemen. He's a good player, but is he going to win us the Premier League? No. Does he win us the Champions League? No. Are you going to play him against Real Madrid? Are you going to play him against Bayern Munich? Do you play him against, I don't know, Shakhtar Donetsk? Maybe. But is he crucial? Is he crucial for Chelsea, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall? Probably not. Probably not. I don't think he is. So I don't know. I think for me personally, I think if we don't move players like that on, what's the likelihood that what happens to them? They stay at the club. They become redundant, surplus to requirements. They stay at the club. They exit the club in 5 years' time. And I said it about Tariq George yesterday. I'm going to say it again. I'm not against players who want to go and play elsewhere and win stuff elsewhere and do good things elsewhere. That's what you're supposed to do as a footballer. You're supposed to try and do the best. You're supposed to try and do the best you can. So I'm not against that at all. I think it's a good deal for Everton as well. Let's talk about it from an Everton perspective. They're getting a good player. They're getting a player. I watched Everton's game yesterday. They need players. Everton need players in that squad, because as much as the squad is very good, as much as the team looks very good, they're missing key players. They need someone to bolster their midfield. I'd even say they need more in defence. O'Brien, I wasn't really convinced of yesterday. Arsene, Mikalenko, they've just brought the new left back in as well. But they've got to bring some players into that midfield. They have to. And to be honest, I think Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, I think he goes there. I think he does well. I think he does well under David Moyes. But one thing it does show is a lot of intent from our club, from Chelsea. We're not hanging around. We're not hanging around. If you're not playing at the club, if you're not in the manager's plans, if you're not part of what the club want us to be and go forward, you're just not in the plans. You're just not in the plans. And it's unfortunate for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall because, like I said, he was pivotal in our Conference League matches. He was instrumental in some of them. He played a big part in getting the top four for us last season. But as I said, he's not a game changer. He's not going to change games for us next season. He's not going to be the guy that's going to pull us over the line when we need to get those 3 points against Man City or, I don't know, Liverpool. He's not going to do that. So this is a good move, I think, for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. This is a move, I'll be honest, we expected it to happen, but to happen this quickly. No, I did not. But let's not forget as well, they wanted Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall in January. He was linked with them last season. So the fact that this is already, of personal terms, doesn't sound like it'll be an issue. 30 million. It's a permanent move. We have to credit the owners. I keep saying it on here. We have to credit the owners because they do that well. They do that part. They do that bit of the footballing world well. And they make sure that get some decent money for some of our sales. They really do. We have to credit them for that. They do a lot of things wrong, but when it comes to certain things, they get it spot on. Let's talk about some more transfer news because this is coming out. This is very, very quick as well. Very similar to Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. And this is in relation to another one of our midfield players. This is about Carney Chukwuemeka. Ben Jacobs is reporting to say he believes, and there's sources to say, that Borussia Dortmund are confident on bringing Chelsea midfielder Carney Chukwuemeka back to the club. Again, I'm not against it. You know, I think Carney Chukwuemeka spent the best part of the season there last season. He done really well. Someone that's just never really been able to sort of fit into Chelsea's plans. He's never really been given a regular run out at Chelsea, but he does look very good in a team like Dortmund. Again, someone who I'll talk about, Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. I say it for Kiernan Chukwuemeka. He looks very good when he's not got the pressure of playing for Chelsea on his back. Hopefully that's a permanent move. That's a permanent move away because, again, if Kiernan Chukwuemeka, I mean, Dortmund's halfway to top-level football is brilliant. I'll use the Bellingham scenario as an example. You know, he went from Birmingham to Borussia Dortmund to Real Madrid. Jadon Sancho, another one. Although it didn't really work out for him at Chelsea, and maybe slightly at United, but he's been onto his trajectory is still progressing. Jamie Gittins, Man City to Dortmund, back to Chelsea. So going to Dortmund for Kiernan Chukwuemeka is actually a really good deal. Like, that could be a really good deal for him. Because he's got qualities about him. He's still very, very young. He's played at the international level at under 21s. He's a good player. He's never going to fit into he's not in the pecking order. He's not going to be 2 or 3, and he's definitely not first. So these deals are making sense. These deals make sense. These deals make sense. And I'll be honest, I think personally, we're getting rid of all these players because I keep saying it on here and I'm going to keep banging the drum until we can't bang it no more. I think we're bringing a top signing before the window shuts. I don't know who that signing is. I'm going to keep saying that. I don't know. But I think we're bringing a top signing before the end of this window, a top signing, a marquee. Not many clubs do marquee signings anymore, but I feel like Chelsea will. Florian Wirtz has gone to Liverpool. Ekitike's gone to Liverpool. Isak is still in the air about what he's doing. Arsenal go and get Gyökeres. And Mbumo Cunha to United. We haven't really got that sort of, that one signing that when you see them come through the doors, you think, okay, we mean business this season. We actually think we can win the Premier League this season. We haven't got that signing. Not yet. I think it's coming. I think there's a signing that's going to come through the doors at Cobham before the window shuts. And that's going to be the signing that we go, right, that's a eureka moment. That's the moment where we go, we can actually compete properly for the Premier League and the Champions League. And I think that signing's coming. But I think to get there, we have to get rid of Kiernan Chukwuemeka. We have to get rid of Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. We have to get rid of Raheem Sterling. Unfortunately, we have to get rid of Ben Chilwell. We have to get rid of these players to free up the cash, free up the money. It's not just the transfer fee. I think sometimes when we talk about transfers, we talk about football, we just focus on the transfer fee. But we've got to think about wages, agent fees, sign-on fees, bonuses. All that comes out of a budget. That is budgeted to the club every single week, every single season. So when we're talking about things like we have to make sure that we've got the sufficient budget to do so. The likes of Sterling, and they've got to go. They have to go. But for Kiernan Chukwuemeka, I think it's a really good deal. Again, really good deal. Unfortunate for him not to be able to get a good run out at Chelsea. I think the fact that he's been on loan now a handful of times, it kind of tells you that he's not going to work his way back into the manager's plans. And I've said on here before, sometimes you go into that loan system, that loan journey, and you never come back. You just don't come back from it. You're just stuck in that loan system for the rest of your career or for a good proportion of it. And you just don't get out of it. You just don't get out of it. So unfortunate for Carney, unfortunate for Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall. But if we want to sign Xavi Simons, which could be the reason why we're not having the deal at the moment, then who knows? Who knows what is going on? Who knows what's going on? There is more. There is more. Don't forget, if you're here as part of the live, make sure you hit that live stream subscribe button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Now, this one grew legs very quickly. This has been reported by David Ornstein from The Athletic. It's another outgoing. This is what I'm saying. We're not messing around as a football club anymore. This one, I feel not too happy about, because this one is around Lesley Ugochukwu, who looks likely, very, very likely, according to David Ornstein. He said earlier on this morning that Burnley had reached an agreement with Chelsea to sign Lesley Ugochukwu on a permanent basis. He's also now reported not too long ago, just over an hour ago, that Lesley Ugochukwu has been given permission to travel to undergo a medical. He will sign a 4-year contract at Burnley. I don't know how to feel about that one, because I feel like Ugochukwu was one of those players that I feel like we could maybe make use of at the club next season. And the reason I say that is because if, for instance, Romeo Lavia is not able to stay 100% fit next season, I keep saying it, we've got a lot of games this season. We've got Champions League, Carabao Cup, FA Cup. We want to push for the Premier League. You need depth. Then maybe Lesley Ugochukwu said, actually, he done a Tariq George and said, I don't want to stay. I want to go and get some regular football week in, week out, where I'm guaranteed to play, 80-85% of the games in the season. Maybe that's what he did. Maybe that's what he said. Maybe. But we have to keep Lavia fit this season. We have to keep him fit this season. Him, Caicedo and Enzo, I keep saying it, they're the best midfield for me, or one of the best midfields in the world right now. But you take one of those players out, if you get a suspension to Caicedo and injury to Enzo, if you think back to a couple of seasons ago, we were struggling for midfielders. I think we had Dennis Zakaria playing in midfield. So we don't want to go back to that level where we don't have the players to fill the void when we need them to come in. So this is the one. Lesley Ugochukwu is the only one. And the reason I think this deal's quite bad for him as a player is it's Burnley. I can't think of many players that have gone to Burnley and done well. I can't think of many players that have done amazing things, or they've gone from Burnley and then gone to, another level up. I can't think of many, if any, players that have gone to Burnley. Burnley's the sort of place you go to, especially when they're in the Premier League, and you think next season they'll be playing against Birmingham City and Coventry City in the Championship. That's their level. They can smash the Championship to pieces. But when it comes to the Premier League, they just never get it right. And Scott Parker's got a massive job on his hands. A massive job, even bigger than when Vincent Kompany was there. So for player, I think this is a really bad move for him. I think if he was smart, I think he would have tried to get a loan deal. Maybe you try and fight for a place at Chelsea next season, but to go to Burnley, it's almost like the graveyard of footballers' careers. It's that one step you take just before you want to get your retirement. You start collecting your pension and you start going into punditry or something else in football. You go to Burnley for that one last little payday. Ugochukwu shouldn't be there. Like I said, there's not many. Now, if it was Crystal Palace, or if it was a Brighton, or I don't know, Fulham, or just someone with a bit more, even Brentford, Spurs, as much as we hate them, but if it was like Spurs or Arsenal, a bit of progression, you might get something out of it. But Burnley's there's nothing good about Burnley. And sorry if anyone who watches this is from Burnley, but there's nothing there. Burnley's just, you wouldn't want to live there. You wouldn't want to play your football there. It's grim. It's grey. It's cold. It's rainy. I don't think this deal is going to go well for Lesley Ugochukwu. I'll be honest, I could see him getting loaned out, moved on in the space of 18 months, 2 years at Burnley, because I don't think it's that sort of place where you develop well. Like I said, I can't think of anyone. Anyone who's in the chat, name me a player from Burnley that's been at Burnley and then suddenly they've been, I don't know, Manchester United and done amazing, or they've gone to City and done amazing. There's not many, if any. So that's my worry for Lesley Ugochukwu. For us, of course, it's more money in the bank to try and get these deals done. The Xavi Simons deal, unfortunately, the Garnacho deal looks like it will be done as well. But we have to be confident that the gaffer, the board, the owners the sporting directors, they know what they're doing. I did say this was happening, a mass exodus of players. I did say this was going to happen in the next couple of days. Maresca's going to want to have his best squad. He's going to want his full complement of players to his disposal, ready for the season. And of course, the window's still open beyond when the season opener starts, but I think he's going to want his core players. Joel Heto, Xavi Simons. We've already got João Pedro, Liam Delap, etc. already in the team. Esteveo's now training from today as a Chelsea player. The lads are back in Cobham. They're training. So he's going to want his core players. He's going to want to start working on tactics and understanding what works well, what doesn't work well with this team. Now, if you arrive the day before the window shuts, it's no use to Maresca or the club. So I think the next I'm talking by Friday, maybe even Saturday. Because let's not forget, we want to see some of these players that we're signing, João Heto and maybe Xavi Simons, if we can get that deal done before, say, Thursday. You'd want him to start playing in the 2 preseason games. You'd want to test him. So we're going to have to see what happens there. Big up to Rich Moneymakers in the chat as always. Big up the legend. This helps get the wages off the bill. Win Stanley really pushing for Garnacho. Sorry for that news. Hit the likes and subscribe. Make sure you do what Rich Moneymakers is saying. Appreciate the comment as always. But I agree. I think getting the wage bill down. Look, the owners have been doing that for the best part of 3 years now. They've been doing it. They've been offloading the dead wood at the club. They've been reducing the wage bill. They capped the wage bill. If you remember, this is why we missed out on Victor Osimhen and others as well. You have to fit into the wage structure now at Chelsea. And I'm not against that. I think that's how it should be. Let's not hold ourselves to ransom. We're the football club. This is why we're willing to miss out on the likes of Osimhen, maybe Gyökeres. We'll miss out on those players because they don't fit into our wage structure, which is fine. It's not a problem. But I'm happy that the club are trying to do things like that, financially do it better. Whether there's an ulterior motive to doing that is a completely different question. But I am happy that they're trying to address that. Yep, Tariq George, really want to keep him, but he wants out. Yep, I agree. It's a shame for Tariq George because I think, again, with Tariq George, he's one of those players that you just know there's a player in there. He's young. Unless we have a buyback clause, which we probably will never even activate. We had one for Tomori, I think, or one of the youngsters that we had at the original Cobham graduates. I'm sure we had a buyback clause in Tomori, or maybe it was Tammy Abraham. I think it was Tammy Abraham. We had a buyback clause and we never activated it. So I don't think we'd even do that. But to allow someone like Tariq George to go, again, I'm talking about Borussia Dortmund. I'm talking about the Bundesliga teams. It's a good place to go and learn your craft, learn your football. And if he goes over there and he does well, I'm just saying. But I get why. I said yesterday, I get why he wants to leave. You know, I think when you've played so well last season, you've played well in the Conference League. If you remember back to that Fulham game, and it probably live with me to the day I die, but the day when he scores his goal, now most youngsters would have gone straight to the crowd, celebrate. He went straight back to the halfway line. He knew what time it was. He knew that we needed the 3 points. He knew what the game meant to him against Fulham when he scored that goal. He wasn't bothered about the goal. He understood that we need to get the 3 points, and he helped us. Whether people want to believe it or not, he helped us get to top four. You know, those games, that Fulham game was crucial. The last game of the season against Forest was just as crucial. Conference League, his matches in the Conference League, his goals, his assists in the Conference League were crucial for us to win it. So, but then you look around and then you see Jamie Gittins, you see João Pedro that can play there. There's still talk about Christopher Nkunku potentially staying, although I do think he leaves. You see the likes of Nicholas Jackson that can play on the left. Xavi Simons, if he comes in. Pedro Neto. So there's so many options ahead of Tariq George, and you think, he must sit down and think, where do I fit into this? How do I fit into all of this? And even more so, someone reminded me yesterday, there's an interview with him and Josh Ashiempong, And the guy's asking the two questions. He's asking Josh what he thinks, what he wants for the future. What does he see for himself? And he's Chelsea through and through. He's like, yeah, I want to play for Chelsea. You know, Reece James is here right now, but I want to be like Reece James. I want to learn from him. And they asked Tariq George the same thing. And his answer was very short, sweet and blunt. I want to play football. And whether that's at Chelsea or another club, but I want to be playing regular football. That tells you everything about his intentions. He doesn't necessarily want to just be an understudy to João Pedro or whoever, Pedro Neto. He wants to be playing week in, week out. I'm not against that. I think it's a very, very good move for him. It's unfortunate for us because there is a player in there. And to lose him, yeah, not good. Not good at all. I've been told with PSR we will get higher players, but we need to gain revenue. We are pushing for over 70 million for shirt sponsor. The coach is going to have a chat with Tariq George. I think the Tariq George thing's done. I think I can't see him staying. I can't see him staying. The reason I don't see him staying is because I think once you see those players that I've just listed ahead of you, that's not even including Mykhailo Mudryk. We don't know still what's happening with him. He could come back halfway through next season or whenever. So you just don't know. So I think he wants regular football, and I get it. And the front of the shirt sponsor, I think, yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all because the Club World Cup will have helped that massively. Whoever gets that front of the shirt sponsor, you know, it's helping massively. What I will say is I feel like our kits are so much cleaner without the sponsor on. When we had Damac for the last 6 games last season, it kind of ruined the shirt a little bit. And this new kit, both the home, away, the third kit's a sensational kit. If you haven't seen it already, head over to our Instagram or our Twitter, it's on there. But yeah, it just makes it look a lot cleaner without the sponsor. But I always say this as well. With sponsors, it depends what it is. Because if Samsung came knocking the door right now and said, we've got 70 million front of shirt sponsor, I think it would make the kit everything, wouldn't it, really? It would actually upscale the kit. If we had 3, remember when we had 3 on there, the dreaded 3, the people that shafted us, we had them and it just ruined the kit. The big number 3 on it just ruined it. So it does depend on who the sponsor is, I think, what makes the kit. And it will either uplift it, make it look a lot better, or it'll bring it right back down to the days when we had 3 and all the other worst sponsors that we had as well. We do have elite people on the marketing, but I have been told we are pushing for sleeve sponsor for over £15 million. We're looking for a 4 to 5 year deal. Again, look, I mean, I said it a couple of weeks ago. For me, this season, last season, let's go back to last season. I got bogged down with everything that was to do with all the things that were off field. And yes, they're important because it's our club and we love our football club and whatever else, but it clouds your judgment of performances sometimes. It can cloud your judgment. And I think as long as they do what they got to do off the field and the results are coming in, I'm not too fussed about the other side of it. I'm not too fussed about the other side. I just want us to play some good football this season. I want to see us play some really good... The football that was at the Club World Cup was a massive sign as to what we can achieve. Because people keep saying that we played the lesser teams, we had a brilliant route to the final, but we still smashed certain teams. We still had to play Benfica. We still had to play PSG. We had to play them. So this is not a case of us just doing what we done last season and crumbling in December. We have to learn from those mistakes. We have to learn from those mistakes. And I guarantee you this, if things are working well on the pitch and the results are coming in, no one's going to care where our tickets are being sold, whether it's on a resale website or if it's in Chelsea's own website. No one's going to care. No one's going to care if we go through the whole season again without a front of shirt sponsor. It's only when the results are bad that we start picking up other things. And that's only mainly down to the media, the narrative that gets put out there from media outlets to make us start thinking about other things rather than the results. If the results are bad, what do you think the PR is going to be? It's going to be about all the other things that's happening at the football club. When the results are good, everyone just cares about the 3 points. So we do have to sort of, this season, I'm trying to set a rule for myself not to get too bogged down with anything away from the actual football. But yeah, it says here, PSR has messed up the sponsors. It's the market value with the Champions League football club winning trophies. So the market value for us should be okay for around 60 million. Yeah, let's just see what happens with that. I mean, look, the third kit isn't even out yet as well, but it's a nice kit. It's an absolutely nice kit. Let me see if I can show it on here, actually. It's a brilliant kit, to be fair. They've taken it right back to the old days. I'm still on my kit ban. I haven't bought a kit for many seasons, but I've got to be honest. I look at this kit and I think I am tempted by it slightly. This kit could entice me, but then I'm going against my word. So I haven't bought a kit in ages, for the simple fact of the owners at the time and still are a bit sneaky around how they do their dealings. The reselling and all the rest of it of the tickets, I'm not with that at all. But here's the kit. This is the kit. This kit doesn't need a sponsor. This kit actually does not need a sponsor. It don't even need a sponsor. It don't even need anything. It's spot on. Spot on. Now that is the kit. I am very tempted to get that kit. Very, very, very tempted to get that kit. I agree, Rich Moneymaker's very nice kit. And it looks clean without the sponsor. I see that kit, and I don't know about you lot, but the first player that springs to mind is a Didier Drogba, Michael Ballack. Definitely Drogba. That black kit we had a couple of seasons ago. That's the one. That's the kit that I am tempted by. I gotta be honest. Yeah, that's the kit. I am tempted by that kit. Kumbu Kelleg is saying we're more than safe with the signings and outgoings will help to balance the books. These owners are wiser. I have to agree. That's one thing they do very well. They are businessmen after all as well. They're not just footballing men. Also remember we get 60 million from Nike. Yeah. I need to find out when that deal ends though, because I'm looking at everyone else's kits and who are not with Nike. I won't say who they're with, but I'm sure you can guess. Their kits are sensational this season. And we've got, although our third kit looks amazing, and I like all our kits this season, but even the quality on some of the other kits, you can tell. They didn't want Hall to go, but he gets more game time. Yeah, Nike ends in 2032, which is really interesting. Right, let's do something else very quickly, because as much as this could change all within the blink of an eye, which I'm sure it will, because let's be honest, I think, as I keep saying, I reckon we bring in more signings before the window shuts. Now, I want to know in each of our positions, if the season starts tomorrow and we don't sign anyone else, I want to know what our best lineup is. And obviously this is old because I can see Noni Madueke's face. He's got to go to North London now. You're no longer part of the best team in London. So let's go through this. Let's go through it. Now, I think Maresca will still play 4-2-3-1. But what is his best formation? What is his best team? What is his best lineup going into this new season? A lot of it, I think, will be self-explanatory. Let's start with the goalkeeper. We don't have Petrovic. Mike Penders is gone, so it looks like it's either Sanchez or Jurgensen, unless we go and get Donnarumma. And for this, we can add players in. That we think we could potentially be linked with. Now, I would love to put Donnarumma's name in there. And for the purpose of this, I am going to put Donnarumma's name in there, because why not? So if we had Donnarumma in our team, he would have to go straight in there for me personally. He's better than Sanchez. He's better than Jurgensen. He looks like he's not going to sign his deal at PSG. We would be stupid not to try and get that deal done. And if we allow him to go to Manchester United as well, boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy. So Donnarumma would be in goal for me. If we can get that deal done, Donnarumma would have to be in goal for me. Reece James, I think, for me, this is the best season we're going to have to see Reece James have. This has to be the best season for me, for Reece James. No ifs, no buts. He has to have the best. This has to be the injury free. This has to be 90% Reece James all season. I'll allow him either two small injuries or one big injury throughout the season. And when I say big, he's out for 3 weeks, max. He can't have many injuries this season for 2 reasons. Malo Gusto, I think, is waiting for his moment to shine. And he showed glimpses of that in the Club World Cup. But he also showed reasons why he's not ready to step up in the Conference League last season. But let's stick with Reece James, because I think he is going to be the guy that will lead us to glory, hopefully, next season. Rich Moneymakers is saying Tosin is safe. Trevor Challah could be safe. Keep you updated. We just in that goalkeeper secret meeting. Yeah, a lot of teams want Marco Correa. Yeah, I think he's safe. I think he stays with us. To be honest, Marco Correa. I think, like I said, they're offering him a new deal very soon. So 2 centre-backs. If we're talking about first game is tomorrow, this is where it gets tricky, because obviously Fofana's there. He's missed a lot of football, but Tosin I like. Very calm. Very calm. I don't think I would change that. I don't think I'd change those 2. I think Tosin over the last 4 or 5 months has improved a lot in terms of what we signed him for on a free transfer. And also, he's someone who gives us leadership at the back, if and when Reece James isn't playing. My question here would be, I'm thinking about it, have we got too many? Now, we know that Dazazi and Badiashile potentially going to get sold. We know that Joao Heto can play as a left centre-back if we need to. Ideally, you want to keep Trevor Chalobah and you want to keep Fofana. But that opening game against Crystal Palace, do you play Tosin and Colwell? Or do you change Fofana? Do you give Fofana the benefit of the doubt? Because when he's on his day, Fofana's actually he's a good centre-back. He just doesn't stay fit. I'm going to throw him in for now. I'm going to have a think about that one. But I'm definitely keeping Tosin. Tosin has to be in that lineup for me, opening game of the season, because he's just grown into a player. And he's very good going forward as well from set pieces, corners and the free kicks. And when they come in, he's normally the one that's getting his head onto the end of the ball. So Fofana is a TBC, but I think we need to give him a good run out and to see if he's the one that's going to be the partner to either Tosin or Chalobah as a partnership. But a bit harsh on Colwell. We'll come back to that. But Marco Correa self, I'm not going to talk about him. He's in the team regardless. Good that we've got Joao Heto now in the team, but for me, he's the best left back in the world. In the absolute world. Like, he's the best left back in the world. Rich Moneymakers is saying Josh will use more, very talented player. He can do the inverted, no problem, but the coach concerned about too much responsibility at that age. I'll be honest, I think he might go. I think he gets a loan. I think if Tariq George gets a permanent move, I think he gets a loan out of the club. I think he gets a loan. We've also got Alfie Gilchrist on the book still. I think there's rumours that he's going to be, or not rumours, there's certainties that he's leaving in the next couple of days, couple of weeks or so. So we never know. But Marco Correa is staying in there. The 2 of Enzo and Caicedo. Luxury that we've got now with Lavia on the bench. Andre Santos as well. How does he fit into this squad? How does he fit into this team? It's interesting, isn't it? Let's change. Let's get rid of this guy. Not for Ben Chilwell. Do we see a little bit more of this next season? Do we see a little bit more of this next season? Do we see a partnership in the midfield with Santos and Caicedo? Palmer, a little bit more on that right-hand side, where he did play some of his Club World Cup football. And Enzo playing more so in that 10. But this is where my head's starting to hurt a little bit now, because if we bring in Xavi Simons, we still have Nkunku, unless he leaves. But Xavi Simons comes in, so where's he playing? Where's he playing? Because if I'm being honest, that's my starting lineup. Caveating with Donnarumma if we ever get to sign him. But if we don't, it'll be Sanchez. But apart from that, that's my lineup for the first game of the season. So where does Garnacho fit into this? Nkunku, Xavi Simons, Estevao. Like, where do all these players fit into this team? It's a good headache to have as a manager, I'm sure, but how do you keep a player like Xavi Simons, who you're probably going to be spending in the region of 50 to whatever million, how do you keep him fresh and fit and happy in the team? Santos, off the back of last season, for me, has to be in the team. Palmer, I think this is a big season for Palmer because he's shown us both sides. He's shown us both sides. He's shown us, yep. Don't forget, Andre Santos, a very ready-made player. I agree with that. But Palmer's shown us both sides of his football. The side where he can do amazing things and hit some amazing numbers. And he's still done that last season, but I think it came with a lot of bad performances. So I think he still hit some very good numbers, but those bad performances came in with it that just didn't really help us over the time. Big meeting with Christopher Nkunku. The coach still wants to keep him, but Christopher Nkunku wants more game time, so that might mean he goes. I think you might be right. I think you might be right, because where does he fit into this team, Christopher Nkunku? How does he get into that team ahead of Neto, who was outstanding for us last season and outstanding in the Club World Cup? João Pedro, I think, will be the main guy going forward now. I think it'll be a toss-up between him and Liam Delap. So that spells trouble for Nicholas Jackson. I think Cole Palmer will be used more on the right. The reason I say that is because there needs to be a role for me for Andre Santos in that team with Caicedo. Enzo, again, brings leadership, goals to his game. He's adding those a lot more now. Assists, getting forward with the ball, driving into that box at the last minute of it from a corner. Very Frank Lampard-esque. He's good at doing those things. So for me, let's put this back to Sanchez. Let's put it back to Sanchez. He's not going to be Donnarumma, but let's wish that was wishful thinking. But with Sanchez in goal, these two here, Tosin and Fofana, have to be spot on. They have to be spot on. And one thing we need this season is a partnership in that defensive line. Last season, we swapped our centre back so much that you just don't build any rapport. You don't build any cohesion. There's no relationship between the two. They don't know how to read the game together because you're just not used to playing with each other. This season has to be any team that wants to try and win the league or win the Champions League. There has to be consistency. There has to be. You look at Liverpool last season. They hardly changed their lineup. They hardly changed that back line. Hardly ever. It's always Van Dijk, Konate. It was Trent and Bradley last season, more so Bradley at the back end of the season. And it was always Robertson. It was only at the back end they started to swap and change when they won the league with Tsimikas and Bradley, and then they'd swap things in the midfield with Endo. But apart from that, their team was solid. You can't keep swapping and change, especially in defence, because that helps the goalkeeper as well. The goalkeeper is going to need to have an understanding of his centre-back partnership. You just need a really solid partnership in defence. The coach doesn't mind keeping Badiashile. I think he's out the door. I think Badiashile's gone. I don't think he stays. I think he goes. I think he's it's a shame because when he first came to the club at this show, he looked like a good defender. We all kind of thought we've got ourselves a good defender. I think it might have been a game against Leicester or maybe Leeds. It was Leicester, I think, and he played an amazing game, He just hasn't got, for me, he hasn't got the attention span of a defender. The same with Zazie. They can't play out from the back. Bad in terms of making the decisions to play out. It just doesn't make any sense. So I think Badiashile goes. I think Zazie goes. I think ideally, if we're talking about players to retain in defence, it has to be Trevor Chalobah, Wesley Fofana, Levi Colwill. Then you've got your core 4 centre-backs. You have James with Malagusto, Josh Ashiempong as the backup if he stays. Cucurella with Gerard Heto at left-back. You've got a luxury of midfielders with Santos, Caicedo, Fernandez. The list is endless in midfield. Then you've got your wider players with Neto, Xavi Simons when he comes in. Nicholas Jackson can play on the left side. You've got Cole Palmer. Again, those areas are really good. Then you've got Quenda coming next season as well. You've got Jamie Gittins, who I haven't even mentioned him. Where does he even fit into this squad? Flipping hell, I forgot about him. Where does Jamie Gittins get into this squad? The more I'm starting to think about it, the more I'm starting to think you can only play 11 players. We'll have 2 teams basically, essentially. We'll have 2 11s and they'll be made up of quality players that could easily step into the first 11. So that could be a headache for Maresca, just thinking about it. I didn't even think of it that way at all. Jamie Gittins, how does he get into this squad? Who do you drop out of that? Obviously, you make your substitutions throughout the games, which is fair enough, but who do you drop out of that starting 11 for Jamie Gittins? Who gets dropped for the centre-backs? Does Wesley Fofana come straight in? Do you go back to Colwell? Does he just come straight back in? Does Santos start? Do you go with someone else? Do you go with Lavia? Esteveo's got to be in this team somehow as well. How do you bring him into the squad? It's a good headache to have, but I'll be honest. I think we need to be seriously competing for the league this season. For me personally, I don't care what else we do in the transfer window. We've got enough in that. The only area, which is why I put Donnarumma on there, the only area for me where I look and I think I worry is the goalkeeper. That's it. The goalkeeper for me is the big one now. The goalkeeper is the biggest one for me because if we had a solid goalkeeper, I don't worry about the defense. I think with Tossen's calmness, Trevor Chalobah's calmness and how well he can play with Tossen, Colwell's coming on. He's still quite young, so we have to give him that benefit of the doubt. Reece James has to have the best season of his life. Cucurella is the best left back in the world. Our midfield is amazing. We've now sorted, I think, our attacking options with João Pedro, who looked phenomenal at the Club World Cup. We've got Liam Delap, Nicholas Jackson. Obviously, Mark Gui's gone to Sunderland. But even our wider areas, we've got players. We've got players that can fit into the 10. We've got Esteveo. We've got Cole Palmer. We've got Enzo that can play there. We've got players like Jamie Gittins, Xavi Simons if they come in. We haven't even mentioned Garnacho if he comes in as well. So there's loads of options for this. We really, as Chelsea fans, if this was under the Roman era, you'd expect a Premier League out of it. You would, if you was in the Roman era right now, if this was Roman Abramovich's era, you would expect the Premier League. You'd expect the Premier League. You wouldn't even care about anything else. The Premier League would have to come to Stamford Bridge with this squad that we've got and how much we've spent. The Premier League has to come back to Chelsea. Not even just because of the money, but the depth that we've got now. And I'm going to go out there on a whim and say that this is actually quality and depth. This isn't Kiernan Dewsbury-Halls and Lesley Ugochukwu's and Carney Chukwuemeka's. This is actual players that we've signed, like the Xavi Simons, Jamie Gittins. They were playing for Champions League football last season. These are players that can get you goals, win you games. We have depth. We can't seriously talk about just finishing top 4 for another season. Can't happen. Won't happen. I won't have that. Just been told that Trevor Chalobah can play right back too. He can. He has played right back for us a couple of times. Justin Winstanley's told the owners that they will sell Garnacho if he isn't good. Yeah, they're not the only ones. I think we're all concerned. It would have been nice to see Petrovic. I mean, Petrovic, going to Bournemouth for the price that he did, letting Kelleher go to Brentford, who I think is a very good goalkeeper, to not even consider addressing that area of the pitch. The only thing I will say that could come back to haunt us, but I'm going to put it out there shamelessly as well. I want a Premier League this season. I want the Premier League this season. Because I'll be honest, Liverpool's team is good. It's a good team. But it ain't that far from ours. Yes, take the goalkeeper away. Reece James on his days is just as good as Trent. Cucurella is definitely better than Tsimikas and Robertson. Of course, they have Van Dijk, but I would say Kanate, Joe Gomez, Kwanzaa when he was there. None of them are better than Tosin, Chalobah. None of them. Our midfield outmatches theirs. And even some of their wide players. You look at, obviously, Diaz, who's now moved on, Gapco, Nunez. None of them are better than the players that we've got there. So, and Arne Slot came in. That was only Arne Slot's first season. This season, we should be getting that Premier League. And if we do get the goalkeeper that we want to get, there can be no excuses. There can be no excuses. There can be no excuses. We need to win that Premier League. This could be a big season for Maresca. I'd hate for him to get. I mean, like this will. Hopefully, this never happens. But I'd hate for him to get sacked midway through this season. But we spent money. This is not the squad where we're bringing in average players to fill the gaps, cover over the cracks. This is the team that is meant to come in and do the job. It's meant to come in and do the job. So I'm just saying, I want my Premier League. My Premier League needs to be here by the end of the season. Our average age will be over 24. It will be. We're getting there. We're going back to the old days where we can sign the likes of Thiago Silva and he can be a Rolls Royce for us. Been told that Tosin, Marco Correa, Pedro Neto, Enzo to control Garnacho. Yeah, if it happens, it happens. I think, if it does happen and we do bring in Garnacho, then so be it. But as I just said before, when I had the lineup up, I don't even know how he gets into our squad. I don't think he's good enough to get in. Now, he's a good player in terms of the quality and depth that I just spoke about. Yes, he will bring something into the squad, but I don't think he's the be-all and end-all. I don't think he's the match winner. I don't think he's that type of player. But is he going to be playing against a lesser opposition in the Champions League? Possibly. Does he play against, I don't know, Everton or whoever in the Cup? If we get a Championship type team or a League One team, is he possibly? Yeah, possibly. Yeah, he does. Absolute Sitter has said this was always the plan. Yep, I agree. Please, I'm with you. Please, Chelsea, do not waste money on garbage Nacho. Yep, I agree. I think if we do waste the money on him, it'd be sad because I reckon that's one of the reasons why Tariq George wants out. And like I said, it'd be sad to see someone who's come through the youth development. I think he's been there since he was 6 years old. He was scouted from a very early age to play for Chelsea, to then move him on. And the only reason you can think of why he'd be moved on is for pure profit, more so than anything. But to sell him to bring in Garnacho would be criminal. Is Lesley good? I'm a Burnley fan. Welcome, Ethan Trav. Welcome. I would say yes. I would say he's a good player. I think the problem is, and this is no disrespect to Burnley, I don't know if him on his own will be able to change what Burnley's expectations are. So I don't know what your signings have been like this season, but he's a good player. I think he'll fit into Burnley. I think the worry is that he's a player that's going to want to try and develop. And I don't know if he'll get that development opportunity in terms of career progression by playing for Burnley. And again, that's not a disrespect to Burnley. I just don't think the trajectory that he wants to go on, the level that he wants to go on and probably take his career, he hasn't really had that good of a path so far. You know, Southampton, you know, it wasn't really getting the best out of him. So I don't know. It's a TBC, but he's definitely a good player. He's definitely a good player. I'd be happy if I was a Burnley fan signing him, but that's from a fan's perspective. If I'm a player, if I'm Lesley Ugochukwu, I'd probably question if I've made the right choice in a couple of months' time, but that's just my own opinion. I hear the coach wants to win the league. We do have a mixed experience and young in a team with young players with over 100 senior games. And this is another point. I think going back to last season, the winning that Conference League, winning the Club World Cup, you win those two things, it springboards your season. And I know then people are saying it's a glorified, friendly trophy and all the rest of it, the Club World Cup, and the Conference League was a bunch of nobodies in there. But for those players, just understanding what it feels like to win for the club, winning mentality, I think that's why I was so happy about being in the Conference League in the end and why we went on to win it. And the Club World Cup was even the same. So winners breed winners. And that's all I can say on that one. The only thing I would rather allow George time to develop and waste Garnacho's time on the bench. Yeah. I mean, Garnacho will show you moments in games and that's about it. Whereas Tariq George, you know that his ceiling is so high. He's so young. And I look back, I'm not putting him on the same level at all of any of these players before I say this, but we've made the mistake before. Kevin De Bruyne, letting him go at such a young age. Mo Salah, letting him go at such a young age. Jamal Musiala, letting him go at such a young age. And I think back, especially Musiala, because the way that, if I remember correctly with Musiala, I might have this wrong, but my memory serves me right, I think. It was a toss-up between him and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Frank Lampard was the manager at the time. And we didn't keep Musiala and we kept Callum Hudson-Odoi instead. Just saying that was not the right choice. That was not the right choice in the end. But that's this. What I'm saying is that could be a very similar thing with Tariq George. He's got bags of potential. And to let him go, we could be seeing another Musiala. Yeah. Yeah, you also signed Amanda Broya. This is a big one for Amanda Broya. I think if he doesn't do well at Burnley, then I think he needs to consider maybe going to another European sort of, I don't know, anywhere that is in English football. Because I think massive injuries. You know, I think he had an Achilles at Everton, which kept him out for a long time. And then I think he had two massive injuries at Everton. He's had his ACLs at Chelsea. And, you know, you've gone to Fulham, you've been at Chelsea, obviously. You went to Everton, didn't really work there. Burnley, I don't know if Burnley actually, I think you do need a striker. So, but he's good. If you keep him fit. If you don't keep him fit, then it's a waste of money, isn't it? I think. And this is a kind of make or break for Broya. I really think it is. He's a good player, but he's missed a lot of football. And where Burnley are normally in the Premier League, they need someone who's going to be prolific and just a killer in front of goal. My worry is I don't think it's him. But I could be proven wrong, and I hope I am proven wrong. Lesley is a good player at Burnley. We'll develop him and give him a bigger platform than France did. Maybe. I'm basing it on the fact that I just don't think Burnley's intentions for the season isn't to finish top 4, top 10. They just want a bit of survival, maybe stability in the Premier League. So he might get that there. But if he wants to move on, to, like I said at the very early part of this stream, I don't know if there's been many players that have come through Burnley and then gone on to excel to amazing heights. And I think Ugochukwu can be one of those players. I just don't think you're going to get that whilst you're at Burnley. Especially if things don't go well for Burnley this season, then you end up in the Championship if that's the worst case scenario for them. And then what happens to Ugochukwu's career then? Does he get picked up by another Premier League club? It's not the route I would have taken if I was him. But from a fan's perspective from Burnley, they're getting a decent player on their hands 100%. Yeah, I agree. Broja is a good player, but he must be kept fit. We also better than Southampton last year. We signed Carl Walker, Edwards Tunzabi. Okay, some good signings. Carl Walker's a good signing, but you have to question why he wanted to go to Burnley, and I know the answer to that. But he's a good signing. Dubravka's a good signing as well from Newcastle. Twanzebe as well. Marcus Edwards, a good player. So I think you've brought in players that are definitely part of the squad that will keep you up. There's I like Scott Parker as well. I think he's a very, very good manager. Yeah, if he's fit, yeah, you keep him fit, he's class, definitely. 100 agree with that. Remember, we had to make over 60 million sales on a tier A list. We've done it lowering wages, so we register our new players. Yep, it's also a good shout out there as well. Faisal, which Fofana? Tell me about Fofana to Everton, because the deal seems to like it's stuck. I take it you mean David Datro Fofana. I don't know. I don't know what's happening there with David Datro Fofana. I think he's got to find a club somewhere. I don't know if he'll end up at Everton though. I don't think he ends up at Everton. I don't know where he ends up, but yeah. Now, if you're on about Wesley Fofana, yeah, I don't know. I've not heard anything about that yet. But I think if you're on about David Datro Fofana, I think he'll end up somewhere. I just don't know if it'll be Everton. I think the latest Everton news is obviously Kiernan Dewsbury-Hall, the £30 million bid. It looks like that's going to happen very, very soon, very quickly, over the next couple of days or so. Yeah. David Datro Fofana is another one that he went through that loan period and he just never came back. He never came back. I think he played in the FA Cup. I feel like it was against Man City. He came on like half time, and he actually done half decent for us. But yeah, it's one of them. You go into that loan system as some players, and you'll just never come out of it, or you'll go to another club, or you'll come back to your parent club, and you'll just never really be spoken about. I forgot he was there at Chelsea. So yeah, I'm sure he'll find a club, whether it's Everton. I'm not sure. Not 100% sure. Yeah, needs to get better with his injuries. Malik Fofana. Okay. Yeah, that's gone a bit quiet. We were linked with him as well. So I think it's tricky one. I don't know whether it's still because of the personal terms, whether it's wages, whether it's a fee with the club. I'm not sure. But either way, that deal, yeah, we were definitely linked with him, and then Everton were as well. Maybe Everton come back in for him. I don't know. He's a good player. So if you get him, Everton just signed that guy from Bayern Munich as well. I think is he a left back? He's good as well. So yeah, it's one of them. We won't be in for him. I can tell you that much. If we go in for Malik Fofana now as well, we're gonna have to build a whole new dressing room, whole new changing room. Yep, shout out CJ. Good afternoon to everyone as well. Don't forget, if you're new, you haven't already, smash the subscribe button. Make sure you get involved in the chat. These live streams are going to be a lot more regular this season, so make sure if you're involved in them. We've also got the podcast with myself and the other Theo as well, so make sure you tune into that. It's on audio or video. The mini documentary series that we've done in July, all of those videos are out now. They're in a playlist separately, so make sure you hit those as well. Before we wrap up, let's get these comments out of the way. Yep, the agent's probably playing ball. It's a bit more money from Malik Fofana. Yeah, we was. To be fair, there's not many players Chelsea haven't been after in the last 3 years. So yeah, it's not good. Yeah, they have. City have lost a lot of leaders, but I'll be honest as well. I think with City, they always start the season slow. So I never really take notice of what they do until maybe October, November, and then they after Christmas they just hit a mad switch. Then they just go on a mad run. But I do think City will be there or thereabouts this season. Of course, Liverpool must be and probably are still favourites. But I'm going to say it again. I think we need to be confident this season. We should be winning that Premier League. No, if I ask everyone in the chat, there's no reason why Chelsea can't win the Premier League. There's nothing. The only thing you do need, and I keep saying it, is a solid goalkeeper. you need a goal scorer that can hit you 15 to 20 goals a season. I think that could be João Pedro. Our midfield is amazing, as long as it keeps injury free. Our defence could be better, but again, like I said about Liverpool, yes, they had Van Dijk, but the others around them were just okay. They weren't amazing. Quansah wasn't amazing for them last season. Joe Gomez wasn't. Kanate has mistakes in him. Even Virgil van Dijk made a lot of mistakes last season. The goalkeeper, Alisson, was still up to his top level, but you just have to be confident that you can break down the defence at Liverpool, break down City's defence, because to be honest, City as well, the one thing with City is if you don't attack them and you allow them to play their football and you give them the ball and they retain possession, it becomes a long, boring, painful game. Once you start attacking Man City, and the same for Liverpool, but especially City, if you start attacking City, they haven't got a plan B. They don't know what to do. They get stifled, and they just you can attack City. So I agree with that a little bit. I think they have lost their leaders. Liverpool look like a force. Arsenal playing the same tactics. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think Arsenal will be there or thereabouts. I think they've still got a lot of work to do with the team. I'll be honest, I think Arteta isn't the manager to even win them the Premier League. I think if they had a really good top manager, which they missed the boat out now because there's not many top managers available, then I think they could win the Premier League. But the problem is they've got Arteta, and he's a stubborn manager, and he doesn't want to change his tactics. I'd love Sterling at Burnley. You might get your wish. Another player very similar to Carl Walker that, I know Sterling's back in London now. He's living here, but I wouldn't be surprised. He's still got property in Cheshire. I wouldn't be surprised to see him back up there at all. I think I wouldn't be surprised at all. Like I said at the start of this is a prime example. Burnley's a place that you can go to if you're kind of nearing the end of your career, because it's kind of the team that wants a bit more. Burnley will bring in a lot of younger players, but they'll also want to balance it out with the experienced players, and that's the likes of Sterling, the likes of maybe a Carl Walker. They want to bring those players in and help the younger players as well. Is Donna the ideal keeper though? Because there's strong links to him at the moment. There was, and I think he is. I think Donnarumma's he's got to be in your top five. It's got to be in your top five goalkeepers of all time. Well, not all time, world class at the moment. He's got to be. I think the links with us have calmed down a lot more than they haven't for United. I think United is still heavily linked to him. I think he would favour the move to United. I think wages will be probably the deciding factor where he goes. I think if United want to pay him more, he's going to Old Trafford. If we want to pay him more, he comes to Chelsea. Can't rule out that PSG buckle and they cave in and they give him exactly what he wants as well. So there is that side to it as well. Sanchez can get better. He just needs that confidence. We are cooking. Believe in the team. I said that before. No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I think Sanchez over the last 6-7 months, back in the last season, throughout the Conference League, the Club World Cup, he's proven that he can be a good goalkeeper. His distribution is getting better, but he's got to bring all of that confidence that he had at the back end of the season. He has to bring that into this season as well. For me personally, I think Ndiaye will not stay after next season because the top clubs can pick him. He's brilliant. Ndiaye, I watched him last night. Against Man United, and he's a top player. And I thought this last season, obviously, anyone that doesn't know, I live in Liverpool, so I talk to a lot of Everton fans. I know a lot of Everton fans, and that's their worry. I think Ndiaye, if anyone comes in for him, I don't think Everton can turn that down, because I think he's a level above Everton in a non-disrespectful way. I think he's too good for them. So I think if a top club does come in for Ndiaye, I think they'll take him 100%. No, he's going. He's on too much money. Sterling's on way too much money, and this is another thing. I think he's on way too much money to even be considered to be staying at Chelsea. That's one of the reasons why they farmed him out to Arsenal. I think Ndiaye will not stay in the season. Yeah, agreed. Yeah, you'd be surprised. United are in actually better. They're in good condition, to be fair. don't believe the media telling you that they can't afford certain things. They can. I think Chelsea agreed to get new goalkeeper. They got bring in who's good on his feet. Yeah, but Donnarumma is not the best either, distribution-wise. He's actually not the best distribution-wise. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. But appreciate everyone that's been in the chat, in the comments on the live stream. Appreciate everyone that's been here. As I said, these live streams are going to be a regular thing. So make sure you've got your notification bell on, you're subscribing, all of that stuff. Make sure you're giving your thoughts in the live chat or afterwards as well. Make sure you get involved. Thank you very much for watching. Hit the Linktree link in the description. We'll be back very soon with another live stream, some more transfer news tomorrow hopefully. Enjoy the rest of your Monday.